Okay, so if you're somebody that's ever failed at anything, and if you're like me, you're a sports person that didn't make it, then this video and this book that I'm going to be talking about is made for you. But before we talk about the book, I'd like to tell you a brief story about something I experienced the other day. So I'm out with my friends, we're at this party, we're all chilling together, and one of my friends who I played football with when I was a kid, he comes up to me and he was like, "Bro, Dhruv, you remember when we were kids? We were like the two fastest players on the pitch and we were insane. Like, wow, do you remember that? Like, we were the shit." And I was like, yeah, 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 that's true, that's true. And then I was like, what are you up to now? And let's just say that conversation ended real quick. So, if you didn't get the idea of what I'm trying to tell you, then it's simply this. The book that I'm talking about is all about an individual who didn't let his past heroics, whether he speaks about it or not, define him or be a part of who he is in the present. And instead, he chooses to create a future and make his tomorrow who he really wants to become. And that's the beauty of this book. Now, if you're somebody that struggles to read books, I get it. It's not that easy to just pick up a book and read it until the end. I was somebody that struggled with stuff like that too. But like I've spoken about in a video before about how to make reading easier and make it a habit, there are certain books that are much easier to read than others, and this very book is the epitome of this. It is the easiest book simply because the author is just narrating his story. Like the entire book is a story and it's in first person, so you can one up the author and put yourself in the shoes of the author and go through his entire journey. He really has mastered the art of stories, and I hope to one day write books like him. But he basically has very subtle but very descriptive choice of words and choice of scenarios throughout the book. And that's what makes this book so encapsulating and so easy to read. Funnily enough, this book ended up in my hand with a huge coincidence too. I was at my friend's place and he'd shifted out to the US, and I was just going through stuff because his house is pretty much like an open sale sort of thing where you just come pick whatever you like, whatever you could use at that point. And this book was there, and I didn't even read the title of the book. I was like, yeah, I read books, that's fine. I'll just pick it up and let's just figure it out whether it's a good book or not. And I picked it up and it was just lying in my room for a really long time and just catching dust. And I meant to read it, but I just had this huge line of books that I was reading before it, so I didn't get to it. But it was just lying there, and eventually one day I was just like, you know what, fuck the list, let me just pick it up and read this book. And that's how I ended up reading it, and it's a masterpiece. It's literally a piece of art, guys, trust me. Like, I have read around 50 or so books by now, and some books are tough to read. This is not one of those books. Now, another very big reason why I love this book is because it has something to do with Japan. The main character in this book, which I'll get to in a second, is somebody who goes to Japan and he starts a business with the Japanese and grows it. And I don't know, I'm in love with Japan for some reason. Their culture and the way they do things with the amount of precision and attention to detail is really inspiring. And I hope that me and my community can someday strive at that level and do things with that sort of attention to detail. But again, I'm just in love with Japan, so this book was even more special for me. Now, if you know your shit, and if you know brands, if you know huge companies and stuff, you probably know what book I'm talking about, or probably not because it's very vague of a description that I gave. But the book is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. I have it right here on my iPad. I did have the physical copy, but I've given it to one of my friends right now to read. So they're currently finishing it. But yeah, Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. The book is basically about how Phil Knight, who founded Nike, who started out Nike, and how he made it into this huge brand that we all know and adore today. And it's really from the bottom, like from when he was an athlete, even before he started Nike. He started out, he was a track runner, and he used to run like marathons and stuff, or basically long distance running. And he sort of couldn't make it pro for whatever reasons, but he had this really great coach, and that's how the whole story of not Nike, it is actually called something else, which I'm not going to reveal to you because it'd be interesting if you just pick up the book and read it for yourself. But it didn't start out as Nike, but he explains the entire journey and how everything started from scratch and how he went to Japan and how he got things done. Now, one of the beautiful things about this book is he shows what it actually takes to build a business of Nike scale and size, and the amount of work that probably goes into it. I sometimes really wish I could hand this book to my girlfriend and I have her read it, but I know she won't. But it would be really nice because it, in a weird way, I guess it would show what you'd have to expect from me in terms of the amount of work that I'm going to be willing to commit to whatever I'm trying to build. And not just my girlfriend, but like everybody around me and myself too. Like it's so crucial for all of us to know that yes, business and all of this is very exciting and it's very fun, but the amount of work and the amount of stress and the amount of like load it can take on a human is a lot. And this book really does that very beautifully. Luckily for me, when I read through it and when I read through all of those scenarios, it got me excited. And I wasn't like contemplating, oh shit, do I want to do this or not? And there's something really emotional that happens in the end of this book. I'm not going to spoil it to you, but I hope you read it. And once you do read it, you probably know what I'm talking about. But he loses somebody that's very close to him. And I somehow need to figure out to balance stuff like this because, yes, I want to build all of this. I want to do all of these crazy things, but I do not want to do it at the cost of some stuff. And I'm not going to spoil it again. Like I said, I hope that you read it. If and when you do, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I need to figure out how to balance things if I want to do things like how he did. Now, when I say balance, don't get me wrong. I don't mean like, oh, a Zen life, like where I'm work life balance and all that bullshit. I've spoken about it before. I don't care about that shit. There is no balance in the world as it is. So fuck balance in our own lives. But with certain things, at least, there has to be a way to do things better. And I'm just hoping that I'll be able to figure it out. Now, from the business side of things, I'll give you an interesting point from the book. Nike is basically not a manufacturer. Nike is just a retailer, meaning that they design shoes and they give it out to a manufacturer, and the manufacturer makes the shoes and then sends it out to Nike, and Nike sells it with the Nike brand, with the Nike label. Now, that's something very interesting. A brand of that size does not make their own product. Yes, we've got vertical integration and stuff in this generation, like with Elon Musk and SpaceX, for example, how he manufactured everything in his own like country and didn't outsource anything. A brand like Nike does not do that. And it's interesting to know that, there's this sort of side of the business model too that could possibly work. But I would say that there are obviously some huge negatives to this where cash flow is very difficult. Basically, every time they get in a shoe, they have to sell that shoe. Until they get the money back from selling that shoe, they cannot buy another shoe. So this is something that they struggle with in the beginning. If you want to know more about it, read it. But that's one of the biggest barriers with not vertically integrating all of the stuff that you're building in your business. And there's some degree of luck also involved in the whole journey. Obviously, in a lot of things in life there is luck involved, but in this even more so, because when you read it you'll actually realize how things actually pan out. And because the cash flow is so tight, unless you have like a surplus of money lying around, you cannot really grow the brand because you can only sell so much and then you can only buy so much. And whatever extra money you make, you have to invest that in buying more. So you're not really left with any cash at the end of the day. And that can obviously be very stressful and put a lot of pressure on the founder of the company because he has to make sure everything is crisp. Like all the amount that's going out is to the fine line. Like everything is perfect and everything that's coming in is also perfect. And again, it's a stressful cycle. So that's probably why this business model and this book, you will realize, is a lot of stress on Phil Knight and growing a brand of Nike with the sort of business model that he has. But yeah, if you're somebody that likes business also, it's really good because it speaks about how he sort of, there are a lot of terminologies that I didn't know about. Even obviously I'm not from a business background, but there are a lot of terminologies that I got to learn from this book. And it could be really interesting if you're interested in business, even just to go through this book. And like I said, it's the easiest book to read ever, trust me. The ending of this book was, I would say, I achieved flow state. Flow state is basically where you're doing something and you don't realize about anything around you. You're just completely dialed in. That's what it was for me. I was immersed in this book. Like nothing around me mattered. I probably finished like 200 pages in a day or two, if I'm not wrong. Like over the weekend, I was going through it and through the week, but then when it got closer to the end, I was just gone. I was completely soaked in. I had to finish it, and I didn't even realize that I had to finish it, but I was just going through it. That's how beautiful it gets to is the ending of the book. And it's really emotional too. The ending like I said in the beginning, there's something that happens that's very emotional towards the end. And I teared up for sure reading the book because of it is first it started off as tears of joy, but then it was also this tear of like sadness of knowing what he might have gone through and what I would want to go through, and some of the barriers that I might face. Again, like I said, I need to figure out a way to do, or I need to figure out a way around how to manage stuff like that. But that was really like a very emotional ending to any book I've probably read. But the happy moment in the end was the realization where he goes like, aha, like what I've built here is not just a product, it's not just a business, I'm not just become rich, but I've actually built something that's changing the world. And that's the real beauty of it, right? Like we all talk about going through this journey and doing all of this hard work and all of that, and we don't know what the end reward is. But in the end, that 1 second of thinking like, aha, like this was what it was all about. Like Nike, like it's more than what it is. I think as a young hustler, that's a day that like all of us hope to see. And when you read it through this book, since I was putting myself in the shoes of Phil Knight throughout most of this book, I felt like, okay, so this is the aha moment for myself. And to be honest, I just wish it didn't end the book. Like I just wished it would go on and on forever. But unfortunately, it had to come to an end. But I just thought I had to share this to you guys. Again, I'm not getting anything out of this. Like, it's not like Nike is sponsoring this video. That's the most ludicrous thing that I've ever said on this channel. But I'm not getting nothing out of this. It's just, I just want to share this with you guys. I've gone and told all of my friends, like, read it, read it, read it, please. And I've even given out the book that I had of mine to one of my friends. If you guys want the PDF copy, like I just showed you, I have the PDF too because of how good it is. So go ahead and email me. If you don't know how to find my email, you can go on my channel and you will figure it out if you want to know, or if you want to have the PDF for this book, I'll have it sent across. And I've tried to keep this description of the book as surface level as possible. I would love to go into the tiny details and nitpick everything and just narrate it out here, but I want you guys to be excited and read it yourself. And I don't believe in spoilers. So if you guys want the book, go ahead, email me. I'll have it sent over to you, the PDF at least. You can read it on your phone, you can read it on whatever device you choose to. And it's such an easy read, such a beautiful book, very emotional. I just had to share it with you guys. And yeah, that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about some stuff from another book, which is basically the 7 laws of power. And power basically that can help you create a business and help you grow your business. These are sort of essential things that your business must have for it to grow, or it'll probably get crushed, or like somebody else will just come in and crush the business. So I'm going to be speaking about that in the next video. But if you guys want to stick around for that, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, then hit that like button. But hey guys, also happy Diwali. I am wearing the most crumpled kurta ever, but I have some puja to go to now. But I hope you guys have a safe and a prosperous Diwali. And please, like, burst crackers away from dogs. My dog is literally like shitting it, and I feel really bad for the dogs on the road. But I hope you guys have a joyful year of celebration and all beautiful things nonetheless. But that's the end of this video, guys, and until next video, bye.